Hello and welcome to the One People Show. Hello and welcome everyone to this week's One People Roundtable. Dee is back. She has recovered. So welcome back.
I'm back. Yeah, you missed me. You know.
Yeah, politics will probably be on the table again today.
Oh,
because there was quite a bit to talk about.
Yeah, we got some interesting political shit to talk about.
So everyone's resigning. What the hell's going on?
Well, I mean, on the surface, right? So the whole, if you haven't been following it, there was another big referendum vote. This time it was in Italy, right? Had nothing to do with how would you say that? Italexit? It wasn't anything like that. It was a vote on changing the Italian constitution, which was overwhelmingly voted down by the people, like 64%. And they had a 70% turnout for the vote, which is pretty crazy in and of itself. So at the beginning, at the end of last week, the beginning of the weekend, I was like, oh, well, they've got to have an excuse every month, right? They got to be able to blame the markets. They've got something to blame, like Brexit was like, oh, they threw the markets in turmoil. Oh my God, But what was interesting is, of course, as soon as the vote started, even before it was completely counted in Italy, when it became obviously very aware that the no vote was going to win, Prime Minister Renzi stepped down, just like Cameron did in the UK. And it was within hours, and I'm not, because of time zone, I'm not sure which happened first. We have Key, who's the Prime Minister of New Zealand, just up and stepped down out of nowhere. No one was seeing that. No one saw that coming. It was just boom. Yeah, I'm just going to quit because I'm at the top of my game now. And this is the moment I should walk away from it all. Because, I'm not a lifetime politician. What?
Well, the timing of that one's interesting. But so before you get on to New Zealand, what the hell's going on? What's with Italy then?
Well, the whole thing is it's changing the constitution. It goes into all the EU stuff. It goes into this long insanity, right? What's interesting is the rhetoric that's being pulled out because of it. So Renzi quits because it was his party who was putting forward these changes to the constitutions of Italy. So when it got voted down, he was like, oh, okay, well, the people obviously don't like me anymore, so I'm going to go suck my thumb in a corner and quit. Which to be all the rage right now with this kind of shit, right? And they're bringing up the banking. Well, the whole thing again, Italy is in such trouble financially. They are so far from fucked. The light from fucked is going to take 10 million years just to reach them. That's how fucked they are. They're as bad as Greece. They're as bad as all these other bad areas. So they're playing the BBC this morning. Oh, because the banking and all, it's going to be really choppy. And oh, well, the interesting thing that also happened last week though is Hollande announced last week that he will not be running in the French elections next year. So he's basically stepping down, at election time. I don't know exactly when the French elections are. I'm not sure what the dates are, but he's basically stepping back. I'm not going to run for re-election, which is very, very strange as well. And it just seems to me kind of looks like, on the surface anyway, that a lot of the old school guys are cutting and running. If you look at even in the election, it's Trump who's going to be president. He's not a politician. He's not one of these old school politicians, the old, So it's kind of like, let's just put the new guy in because we're going to fucking get out of here while we can type thing. So yeah, I'm finding this last year of politics has been kind of interesting. And with this last 2 quits, it's like, wait a second. The Black Pope decides to resign as well in the last 2 months. What's going on?
Okay, when it comes to New Zealand,
I have theories. Yeah,
I know. As we know, there's been some weird activity down in the Antarctic. Buzz Aldrin, I don't know if you saw this, but as Buzz Aldrin was leaving to go to the Antarctic,
the launch pad.
He tweets to say,
pull it up because I can't quite quote it exact.
So this is prior. We're ready to go to Antarctica. Maybe our last opportunity to tweet for a few days. We're going for departure to the launch pad. Okay. So that was the 28th of November. And when was he lifted out of there?
Yeah. I don't know. What was it, like the
December 1st?
December 1st, yeah.
So
that's only 3 days. That's only 3 days. Like, if you're leaving for Antarctica, I mean, I don't know where he was leaving from. Maybe they were south of Argentina, and But, yeah, I mean, you can look at and you can look at it on the one side and go, okay, well, it's just astronaut talk, we're T-minus for liftoff type thing.
But to the launch pad?
To the launch pad?
What? I don't understand. But in terms of interesting goings on, that include New Zealand.
John Kerry was just there?
John Kerry was down there.
After going to Antarctica, the next place he goes to is New Zealand?
You mentioned the Black Pope.
Literally.
You mentioned
sorry. What was that?
You mentioned the Black Pope.
Yeah. Well,
the guy who's the equivalent of that, you could say, in the Muslim world, is this king something or other. I can't remember. Let me see if I can find it. No, I can't. Back on the 25th of November, so a few days before Buzz left to go to the launch pad, so I'm just going to read from something, right? A little piece of intel I got.
Okay.
The Black Pope in the Christian world, well, he's the custodian of, and his equivalent in what he's the custodian of. His equivalent in the Islamic Muslim world is the king that boarded his private aircraft at Sydney Airport just after 2 p.m. today. So this dude came out here, this king, and he had meetings like this.
Yep.
With a rather odd bunch of people. It was almost as if the Prime Minister was the last person on his list, and just as a nicety, a polite thing on the way out the door.
Yeah, kind of like, okay, well, I'm here. I guess I have to, officially shake his hand just so I can say I did.
Yeah. And then he left at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to head to New Zealand. He pulls the
New Zealand.
Sorry?
I didn't know that he went to New Zealand after that.
Wow, our connection is terrible. I don't know if it's my end or yours. It's not good.
My end's just fine.
Okay.
Just saying.
He pulls the aerobatic strings, shall we say. All these groups are converging and moving their sources of power. So they're in the process, apparently, of moving a lot of their relics. Why there would be such an interest in Australia and New Zealand? By them, I have no idea. New Zealand and the Maori Nation have served letters patent on the Crown in the House of Windsor. He's in a bit of a fits. So that's all going on. But his little visit was relatively under the radar. There was not a lot of press about it whatsoever. And it was happening at the same time as John Kerry. It was happening, something is going on down this part of the world that nobody wants to talk about too much.
Yeah,
we had the earthquake in New Zealand, then we've had all of that, the strange anomalies going on in New Zealand weather-wise as well, and the stuff that's over there, and more activity in the Antarctic. It's just, what's going on? I have questions. I'm going to do a D. I have questions.
I have fucking questions.
And Chatham Island.
You know what was interesting? And Chatham Island. Dr. Joseph Farrell from Giza Death Star. He put out an interesting article about Antarctica, and he talked about the whole, astronauts going to Antarctica. And he was like, interesting visits have happened, right? So we talked about Patriarch Kirill, the Russian patriarch going, and he didn't little pieces for you that I didn't mention in the article, so I'll just kind of fill these in case you aren't aware. It's like Patriarch Kirill met with Pope Francis in Cuba in the international airport. They never left international airport, which means international airports anywhere in the world are like international waters. They're not part of the country they're in. Whether you're in the States, Canada, England, doesn't fucking matter. An international airport is designated that they're international waters. So basically, the Patriarch and the Pope meet in Cuba in international airspace, water, whatever you want to call it, and then the Patriarch immediately goes down to Antarctica. Well, I had to go do a little quick, who are some of the interesting people who've been to Antarctica recently? And by recently, I mean like in the last 10, 15 years. King Juan Carlos of Spain, Prince Harry, 2013, just 20 days before Mandela's funeral. The second one, or the third funeral, I'm not sure. Bill Clinton. In 1999, Bill Clinton went to Antarctica. I thought that was kind of interesting, and timing-wise, too. Yes. So, just...
Considering all we're told is down there is a lot of penguins and some research facilities.
So they say.
What the hell? Yes, Chatham Island is the place. That's one of the very first things that Lulu talked to me about was Chatham Island.
Yeah, Chatham Island.
Bad place. And since she brought it up, there's been some interesting shit going on in that area.
And once your attention is drawn to it, you start watching these things. You go, oh, that's kind of interesting how that keeps coming up. Yeah, Antarctica is. And that was the other thing I added to was, of course, Obama's visit to just after the Russian patriarch went to Antarctica. Obama has that major trip to Argentina, where suddenly, days before, he announces that him and several hundred government officials and NASA are going to meet in the southernmost points of Argentina to go for a hike for a couple of days.
Which just happens to be the perfect time to Antarctica.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking from the southern Argentina, it's literally like a 2-hour hopper flight, maybe 3 hours to hop down to Antarctica from there. Yeah, I got questions. I got lots of questions.
On the one hand, hard to know, obviously, but we've got perceived good things happening. They may or may not have quite called a cease to Standing Rock for now.
No, they haven't. Don't even go there. There was no standing. There's no cease.
Well, today's America would be the big eviction, right?
But the pipeline people said they're going to drill anyways. So the Army Corps of Engineers put out their statement saying we're not going to give them the permission to do it. And basically the pipeline people said, well, fuck you, we're going to do it anyways, and we'll pay the $2,000 a day fine. $2,000 a day, it's a $3.69 billion deal. $2,000 a day is like coffee money to them. So they're just going to keep going. They're just going to keep going, and they're just going to pay the fines. See how that can be fucking legal.
It is your internet, by the way.
Is it my internet? My internet's been fine all day. Guys, is it my internet that's all glitching out?
Who's laggy? Myself or D? D. Yes, yep, D.
Really? Hold on, let me take a look and see what, you chat for a second. I'm going to have to just see what I'm on.
But there was other good news, perceived good news. What was it? Shit. It's gone. Come on, guys. What else happened in the last few days? It looked like it was good news.
There's been some interesting stuff. Listen, I take all these fucking world leaders stepping down as good news.
But see,
to me,
in the moment Trump got in, it's like, okay, does this truly represent a shift in... Because you got to admit, Hillary and her crew all looked a little bit stunned by it, right? So,
you think?
Was it a genuine shift, or was it them? Because to me, as far as I can see, Trump's in this up to his eyeballs, right?
Hold on, I'm trying.
Got it.
Okay. Mine is just a mess.
Or is it just one of those, okay, we've pushed the people too far. We've pushed them faster than our programming and dumbing down and everything else, and they can't keep up. It's not kept up. We've pushed them beyond it, right? So do we need to now completely change tactic and give them a little bit of what they want? You know, let's make things, take the pressure off, make things a little bit easier, get them to take a nice big sigh of relief, think that they're making a difference. So there's that side of it. Is it all just still part of the plan, but they're playing a different template out because they push people too far, and they ended up popping people awake instead of, you know, getting more control over them? Or is it genuine change? And when we try and, because we know this is a global thing, right? So it's not, you can't look at all these different things as separate. They're all connected. So then looking at who's stepping down, the reasons they're giving for stepping down, are they all just trying to cut and run?
Well, I didn't get a chance to research this because I was trying to put together a little bit of a timeline myself, because there was, the multiple prio, right? 2013, the multiple prio, which was based by the Pope, that was basically made them all accountable. And then someone said, and we discussed this maybe back in August, that someone said that there was like a 3-year,
they had 3 years to get their shit together, otherwise it came into effect.
3 years to get their shit together, or otherwise they were up shit's creek without a paddle. In that 3 years, we've watched massive, again, even more politicians quitting, et cetera, et cetera. And now we see this, like it's almost like it's like the rat, someone flipped the lights on and the rats are just scattering at the moment. Is that what we're seeing? Are we seeing that something has come down, basically, for whatever reason? And these guys are kind of like, okay, we're getting out of here. We don't want to be the one holding the bag. caught sitting in that seat of power type thing, whether it's a prime minister or president. I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
You are freezing up, Dave.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what to tell you. My internet has been fine all day. My internet was fine. I blame Lisa.
You may as well, everybody else.
No, I got no one else. I'm going to blame Quinlan. Quinlan, you're not on the internet, are you? Okay, so she's not on the internet. Okay, I can't blame her either. Damn.
2013, stuff went down on all levels with a 3 to 3.5 year time frame, from the energetic and spiritual down to like even the Pope's
financial. Yep.
Financial. There was quite a few things. So we are at the end of that deadline on a number of levels. So, I mean, last week's show, have you actually had a listen at all?
I sat down to listen to it about 4 times, and each time I got 15 minutes, and then 15 minutes, and then 15 minutes, and by the time I got to the 3rd day and I was watching, I don't know, the 4th 15-minute increment, I'd forgotten what happened in the first one. So I went back and started the whole thing all over again, and I still haven't seen the last hour.
Oh, okay. Well, it was pretty much all from the energetic perspective. And as far as that goes, everything has shifted and changed, and I sort of made a statement out loud as well. And I've got a couple of witnesses to this, that as long as something happens every day that makes me feel like I personally and we collectively are moving forward, I'm happy. But if I get to the end of the day and I don't feel like I start throwing a tantrum, right? And start bitching and moaning. And it hasn't happened very often. There's maybe been 2 days where I've had to start bitching because something has happened every day. Whether it's a piece of intel that comes in, whether it's an experience of my own, a connection with someone who shares theirs, something.
Yeah.
And I'm watching how. Okay, this is between you and me.
Just us. And the 199 people in the chat room.
You know, that we've been here before in terms of, that saying that you get the most flack when you're over the target. Well, some of the things that are being said about us again right now is like it's all gone back up through another whole kickstart cycle. But those who can see, I'm incredibly blessed to be connected with a bunch of people who have some serious skills, right? Some really big guns are behind a lot of this, right? Really big guns.
Such as?
And I mean, energetically, the big guys.
Yeah.
Right? What I'm finding is this narrative that we've been talking about. I mean, you and I for about 2 years now have talked about it being a construct, right? The whole flat Earth. I guess hang on, I'll backtrack. The introduction for me personally, about this being a construct was back in 2014 when we were in Morocco and we watched The Lies NASA Told. Mm-hmm. That really introduced that concept. It made a lot of my own personal experiences make sense. A lot of the stuff that happens to you that you just have to put on a shelf because you've got no context to put them into.
There's just no explanation and rationale behind these. Let's just put them away. Let them get
They
done.
don't fit in any other narrative we've heard. So what I've seen recently is that there have been quite a few people talking about this for a long time, right? Now there's a whole bunch of new people who have just started talking about this. Either in a this is what it is, or in a this is not what it is and don't believe that bullshit kind of way. It doesn't really matter. But the language is there, the concepts are there, the storyline's there. Kind of don't really know how to say what I'm about to say, and I hate that.
Come on, you can do it.
I want to put something out there. I want to ask. We've got 200 people in here, 208 people in here. How many of you have always felt that you came here to do a specific job? Okay.
Oh my God, the chat room just fucking exploded.
I've got 2 no's so far, the rest are yeses. 3 no's. 4 no's, but the rest are yeses. Yeah, you may not necessarily know what that job is, but it's just that feeling I've got a specific thing to do. I came here with a purpose. I came here to get something done. Okay, for those of you who do, do you have a sense of it was to help, specifically to help people, to help end this, this is your last go round, that you've just come in here to end this, that kind of thing? Okay, overwhelmingly, yes.
Yeah, holy crap. I wish I could actually film, like do a screen share and film when the chat does that. It's like, it goes so fast. It's like almost like a cartoon, like it's like a film.
Do you remember on 9/11 when, like a lot of the fire brigade, fire personnel died, the rescue teams, right? They went in, they got a lot of people out, and they ended up dying. What if that's the kind of situation we're in right now? This was put to me late last night, so it's not mine. But I've been mulling it over. What if those of us who feel like we came here to get this job done, to get everybody out, to end this thing, clean up crew, whatever you want to call it, what if we already did it? What if we have actually got everybody out that needed to get out, and now the rescuers are stuck? So,
no, I don't like that theory.
Why?
No, I don't like that theory.
What?
No, because I don't like being stuck. You know me, control freak.
Yeah. This has got nothing to do with what you like or not,
I know.
and what your head wants to accept or not. No, I don't mean stuck permanently.
No, I know. I'm just teasing it. No, I get it.
Like perhaps we've been so head down, bum up, focused on that we forgot to put our head up and go, oh shit, we did it. And we're still running around in circles trying, looking for survivors.
I don't know. It still feels in the process. Because we've kind of had these kind of conversations, like, it's all done and now we're watching things roll out and this multiple times over the years. And lately, especially in the last it still feels like we're in the process. And it's really like right there, so close, but the process is ongoing. That's what it feels like.
What you just said then, though, about it's all done. How many are feeling like everything they're doing right now is just going through the motions? Like it is actually all done. It's already happened. We are just waiting for the events to catch up or show up in real time in TikTok time and in physical. But it's actually all done. No? Yes?
It still feels to me like there's just one piece.
And there's always one piece with you.
No, that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. In the rollout, if you will, and not so much in what we're doing in the moment, but in like there's that one major piece still to roll out to.
It all still has to roll out. It all still actually has to show up in sequence, in TikTok time, in physical, but it's already been written, so to speak. And now we just have to act it out, which is why it's important right now, I feel, at least that's what's working for me, is be in the moment, follow your prompts. If you're prompted, if you whatever, to do something, speak to someone, go somewhere, whatever, do it because you've already done it. Now you just have to actually enjoy the rollout process of doing it. I think that's the only, like I said before, I've said it for the last few months, that we can't make any mistakes right now. And that if there is a mistake that we could make, it's to not do that. It's to not listen to those prompts. It's to not follow through physical with what you've already done in the energetic. So
no, I agree. That's going where you need to go, doing what you need to do. Like you said, and like you said, that kind of like just talking to the people when you just kind of get that urge to just say something to someone, to talk to someone.
yeah.
Chat room's going off.
It
They're
is
all
going
chatting
on,
away.
but it's not happening.
Yeah, there's no point. There's no. I'd need a completely separate screen just to be able to keep up with.
But there's a lot of fear around what we're talking about.
How do you mean?
For the record, just I should say, I have no intention of committing suicide. I have no intention of telling 10,000 people to commit suicide. And I don't do blood over intent rituals. I have no idea what they are.
This whole blood, I was just like, I just startled the dog, apparently. I'm yelling and I startled the dog.
So that's just on the record. No, not happening.
Yeah. Seriously? No. That whole blood internet oath, I don't even know what the fuck that is. I mean, there was a conversation that came up in the Unfuckers room about 4 weeks ago when someone was talking about people were signing paperwork with like blood rituals, pricking and signing their blood ritual fingerprints and how it's so important and all the rest of it. And I was like, yeah, no, you don't play with that shit. That's fucking ritual magic and you just don't fucking play with that shit. It's fucking clue what they're doing. No. And then the video comes out, I don't know, saying that we're trying to perpetuate blood ritual, something, oath, internet. I'm not even sure what it's called. And I'm just like, yeah, no. You guys
No,
are
we're not the next Heaven's Gate. I've obviously, if you say it often enough, with, you hope it'll catch on. But a fake Facebook group does not qualify as a cult. I'm sorry. It never did. And it never did when certain people were in it, and now they're not in it. Apparently it does. But a Facebook group is not a cult.
No, that's fucking. I'm sorry. This whole the unfuckers cult just fucking kills me because it's a secret cult. It's a secret Facebook group that we talk about on the air continuously all the time. That's how secret it is.
But thank you for all the publicity because, I mean, people are wanting to join it every day. So
I can't even keep up sometimes. We're over 1,500 members in the room now. I
love that. I'm not a cult. I won't even take orders from myself, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
So, I just wanted to get that on the record. That's not happening.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So,
no.
certain people don't need to pray for me.
Oh, come on. I'm going to pray for you, Lisa. I'm going to save your soul. Yes.
Well, it only gets said on the channel of Christian flat earthers because the person who said it doesn't pray for anything or anybody.
Whatever.
Doesn't matter. Okay, where were we?
Next subject. Okay. There was something I wanted to bring up, and now I've fucking forgotten. I'm gonna have to go look in the Skype room. You talk for a second. I gotta go look and see what links I threw in the Skype room.
Well, for those in Australia,
there was something I wanted to talk about tonight, and
thunderstorm asthma. Okay.
Oh, that's it. Thank you. That's exactly what I wanted to talk about. You're so awesome.
You got some messages from somebody in the health industry, if you wouldn't mind sharing.
Yes. I got some messages. Doesn't exist. No such thing. No such thing on record anywhere. Doesn't matter how high the pollen count is.
All over Australia. Again in Melbourne, up as far up north as Queensland, in Sydney, they've had these alerts that watch out, thunderstorm asthma, coming your way. Warning.
Be afraid. Be afraid. Yeah.
Be very afraid.
The ventilator manufacturers are making a killing right now.
But go ahead, read those messages.
So, I don't even have them up, but I'll just paraphrase them. So, a friend of mine who was in the health industry, was in the medical industry, had conversations with friends of his who still work in the health and medical industry in Melbourne. And he asked them about this thunderstorm asthma. And they themselves have been discussing it amongst themselves, like quietly in groups going, this is not fucking normal. First of all, the people who presented in hospital with these asthma attacks were actually reacting as if they had acid fume burns in their throat. And the throat, to protect itself, starts producing mucus, right? Because of it's so raw that it starts producing mucus. And it was this overabundance of mucus that caused a couple of people who had asthma to actually end up dying from it. Now,
8 deaths, I believe.
I think it's up to 9 now. There's no such thing. But when you have medical personnel within the hospitals quietly going, what the fuck is this? This isn't fucking anything normal. These guys have inhaled something. These guys are like, this isn't asthma. This is like seriously like the kind of thing that you would see if all of a sudden there were workers in a factory and there was an explosion in the factory and toxic chemicals were released that they'd inhaled. This is more along the lines of what they were seeing. So what are they testing? Now, one thing that came up, Lisa, remember we talked about 2014 Australia government announced, it was October, November 2014, Australian government announces they're going to aerial spraying of vaccines for, I think it was diphtheria. It was something ridiculous, something that is like, Australia doesn't have a problem with this. Why the fuck would you be spraying aerial vaccines? And we said at the time, it's notice. It's absolutely notice. So what are they spraying? Are they testing out some new aerial vaccine? Is it something that requires a heavy, heavy humidex level? So that's why it's being released during storms when it's lots of water in the air?
So for the last few years, mucus has been a theme, right? Over the last 2 months, in particular, there's been a lot of purging on that level.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Lulu did make the comment when I asked her what role mucus plays in the body. She said, oh, it kills you. So could it be nothing more than just a way to get us to overproduce mucus? Anything that your body has a reaction to, it will do that in order to.
Yeah.
But 8,500 people presented to hospitals.
In hours? Like, that's just insane.
An ambulance is dispatched every 4.5 seconds, I reckon.
Yeah.
It is.
So, yeah. What are they telling? Now, the interesting is there was another story that came up. I couldn't track it to an official news source, a credible news source, but a story came up. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
The same thing happened in Kuwait last week. That 5 people died of thunderstorm asthma in Kuwait. Now again, when I got sent the link, I went try to track it down. I couldn't find any mainstream news articles out of the Middle East, anything that talked about it. So take it as hearsay at this point.
I've got something to show you, which I don't know if you saw already. Did you see this one? Thursday morning in the Golan Heights.
Oh, the massive fires?
No. Can you see this? This storm?
Oh.
It didn't cross the border.
Wow.
Very odd. The weather phenomenon occurred at 8 a.m. Thursday on the other side of the Syrian border, in the same place where ISIS attacked Israel. This strange storm of what appears to be dust cloud and rain did not cross the border fence into Israel. It sat like a barrier between ISIS and Israel. Apparently it just sat like that for like a wall. And then the weird weather that we're having here in Australia is these storms that go nowhere. It is your internet, I'm sorry. Now you're muted. Hang on. You're not even showing up in the list. Where'd you go? You're actually not here. You're not here. I'm sorry. You can't unmute yourself, and I can't unmute you because you're not showing up in the list. Would you like to leave and come back? Can anyone else see her in the? I can't see her. She's normally just the letter D. Well, why is she not showing up for me? What? You guys can see her and I can't. That's bizarre. Oh, now she's here twice. And you're still not on the list for me. Oh, no, right you are, right down the bottom.
Can you unmute me now?
That was weird.
I have 5 full bars. Like my internet is showing 5 bars.
Whoa, you're glitching.
To tell you, like, according to what everything's telling me, my internet's absolutely fine.
Your video is frozen and you're glitching. Okay, I think you're back.
Am I back? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have no idea. My internet shows that I am absolutely strong. And apparently you're cutting out too, Lise.
Am I? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know sign language.
I do, but I'm rusty and I only speak Canadian Sign Language. Sorry.
Is that not your universal language? Sign language?
No, it's not. I fucking American, Canadian, British, and Australian Sign Language, not same. Even though they're all English.
Wow. Okay.
I ran into British tourists and I was helping them out because I spoke sign language. And as long as I stuck to the signs, it was okay because we could kind of make ourselves understood. But the British alphabet's completely different from North America. Like Canada and the US use the same alphabet at least. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you know. England's got a completely fucking different alphabet, so you can't even spell to them. It's English.
Well, what do you know?
Fucked up communications. Yeah, whatever.
Now, I'm hoping you'll hold long enough to. I'm going to make you co-host again because I'm going to just
yes, please.
like 30 seconds. I'll be back.
I have internet. They promised me I did. I don't know. So yeah. The other thing I want to talk about though, and I was actually going to put this in on Fuckers this morning and I completely forgot because I'm an airhead. Electrical storms. I would like to know from you guys who are just here in the chat. In the last, let's call it the last 2-3 months, have you experienced more or less thunderstorms, electrical storms than what you would normally have? And is it substantial, the difference? Okay, way more, less, way less, normal, less.
What are we talking about?
You guys are going fast, I can't keep up. Way more. So there's a few people who are saying way more because we've had pretty much, if I was to count it out, say, let's take the month of November, or say like November 5th to December 5th right now, we have probably had an electrical storm at least every 2 or 3 days for the entire month.
You saw that clip of the lightning running horizontal?
We've seen that here. Completely sideways lightning. We've seen it here. We've seen sideways lightning here several times. Like we're looking over the Med and continuously going, oh, look, there's lightning again. Oh, there's lightning over the sea again over there, or it's over the hills on the other side. It's unbelievable amount of lightning. Lightning storm here 3 nights ago. It was seriously huge lightning storm again.
You are freezing every now and then.
Yes. I wish I could fix it, but I can't.
Here's another little oddity.
And ground lightning again.
Did you see this?
What was that, love?
Share screen. Did you see this one? The mesospheric ball.
Over China. This was a bizarre one. Looking into it, and it was like, there's no explanation I can come, literally none whatsoever. I mean, what, they just have really, really high atmospheric pollution? Like, the pollution is just really high.
I mean, how many rare, we're told they're rare, atmospheric anomalies that are happening that we've never heard of before.
Wow.
And now they're happening regularly. The stuff that they're telling us is rare, but we've never heard of it before. There's stuff that they're saying is new, because it is. We've got, hang on, where else? Where would I find those too?
Atmospherically, meteorologically, in the last year to explain ridiculous phenomena that's going on. The amount of aurora borealis as we've seen in the last 4 months. It's almost a continuous thing right now.
These photos aren't very large, but I'm hoping you can see them. So this is just, your NASA Sashi cameras. So here's Earth, here's Mercury, and what's that? Because that's not the sun. The sun's over here off camera. The sun.
It's the Death Star is what it looks like to me.
Here's another one of it. Earth, Mercury. Now, as I've said before, I don't buy into the Nibiru thing, but something's out there. And when I say out there, I mean in here. Oh, Dee, are you gone again? Oh, do you want to try and see those again bigger? I could try that. No. Yeah, it's not working, but thank you. Control, command, and the key. Yeah, it's not. That's not happening though. Oh, yes, it is. Hang on. There we go. That's that blue one that I was able to get a bit larger. Are you muted again, Dee, or something? Jesus, what's going on with you? Where are you? Stop share. Unmute.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for joining us.
I'll try. Here's what I'm going to do, Lise. I'm going to reboot my computer.
I think that's a great idea.
And just shits and giggles, let's play with this. Because I want to talk about this kind of shit, because I got some stuff I need to talk to you about.
Okay, then.
I'll be back.
There's someone with their hand up, so I'm going to bring them out while you're
okay.
So, Gina, your hand unmuted. That's the word I was looking for.
Actually, right when I'm eating a cracker, thanks.
Sorry, darling.
No, actually, this kind of related to what you were saying earlier about triggering certain groups of people where that cycled back again. And I just yesterday found my spam folders on Facebook, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
found a post, several posts from this summer from somebody that used to be a very active part of the UU room. And I realized I hadn't seen her name in quite a while. So I replied that I just now saw the post, and we chatted back and forth very nicely about our children, and absolutely no issue at all. Just very friendly, very looking forward to staying in contact. And then this morning, I realized, I haven't seen her name in the UU room, and I looked at her and she wasn't on the group anymore or in the friends list. So I said, when I replied to her this morning, I said, are you no longer in the UU room? And I don't see you listed anymore. And I just think it's a shame that within the community that's trying to bring people together, that there's so much petty, kind of back and forth stuff going on and then I think it's outside factions trying to separate people instead of bringing them together. And I wished her love and that she had a great day, and she immediately unfriended me. Just for mentioning the UU room, I guess. So I just thought that was amusing and timely in terms of all the hullabaloo. I didn't see the post about whatever it was where they were bringing out the blood ritual stuff. That's really laughable. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Well, I'm sure we're not the only collective that's experiencing this. I'm sure any groups that are coming together right now, or people who are connecting, who are finding empowerment in coming together, clarity, direction, are under all kinds of attack. We know that there are people in that UU room. I know that there is one or two people in the LMH members who are there to just to either monitor or disrupt. And that's going on everywhere. I know it is. And I'm in awe a lot of the time in that room when I watch people grow and expand and step into their power. There's been a lot of that lately. So it just makes me laugh when people say things like it's a cult. And I'm the leader and everybody's my body. What do they call them? Attack dogs. Because this is a group, this is one of the most independent groups of people I've ever come across, who you can't tell them what to do or what to think. And that's brilliant. I love the way everybody steps into a place of being open to contemplate all kinds of things, process it and chuck out what doesn't work for them and what does. But are you better? You're still muted though? Okay, I'm on it. Hang on. I'm going to find you. Oh, look at that. She's not showing you. There you are. Unmute.
Yay! Did you miss me? My computer.
It didn't help any. It didn't help any.
I tried. I did what I could. The router is 2 floors down, so I can't do anything about that. What the fuck?
You need Jim
to talk in bed.
Where's your tinfoil hat? Where's your tinfoil hat?
Just Quinlan, go get me the tinfoil quick. No, I'm just joking. What are you guys talking about? Because I want to talk about something.
It's all right. You go.
Okay, so because we talked, you were showing the Sechi pictures, right?
And I can do it again if you support your conversation.
Well, just in the fact of that weird shit showing up, right? Like seriously weird fucking shit showing up. And these are all showing up. These are the official NASA feed. This isn't, some guy with Photoshop making some funky photos up. I mean, this is, you can go to the NASA website and actually pull up some of these freaking photos. This actually is one of the, sorry guys, I just kicked my computer, is one of the major satellites. So when I was looking at some of the stuff that's going on, the atmospheric stuff in China that you just showed, where you've got weird shit happening in the atmosphere, right? I was like, well, I better go take a look. I haven't looked at CERN for a few days. Oh, CERN's doing something interesting. I pull up, first of all, the graph, go, the hell is that? And then I pull up the Schumann resonance, and I look at that and go, what's going on there? So I can pull up the screenshots if you guys want to see the screenshots. I can pull those up and show you what I'm talking about. But basically, as you know, when I pull up the backdoor feed of CERN, you get certain patterns that are always kind of repeating, depending on what experiment. Pattern for the last 2 weeks since they started doing the lead particle. Is that, you can't hear me, can you?
Glitchy.
What was the last thing you heard me say?
Schumann resonance, CERN, particle.
Okay.
I think.
Lisa's doing her usual. Lisa's just like, okay, Danny's talking CERN. I'm just going to go off into La La Land over there and just ignore it all. But that's okay. I still love you. So I look at the patterns in the 7-day, and you get the repeating patterns. And or what was last night, there's a change, a major change in the pattern. And then today, everything dropped. First thing this morning when I checked, they dropped the beams. Not unusual. I go back later on this evening, 7 o'clock tonight, my time, and go take a look. And there's 2 major power spikes. One at around 1 p.m. Central, that's Central European, and one again just before 7 o'clock tonight. And I was just like, what the hell is that? And again, I go look up the Schumann resonance, and Schumann's like going crazy off the board. So I go look up the schedule. As of 11 o'clock this morning, CERN is on technical shutdown till April.
Is it a squirrel?
No. Scheduled technical shutdown till April. And I'm going, what the fuck?
Okay, so that's interesting. Because
It is interesting. But go ahead. I want to hear your take.
everybody that I know who can energetically see into the timeline can't see past March. Right?
Can't see, sorry, say it again. Can't see what?
Past March. Now, the last time I was in a situation where I couldn't see past a certain date was back in 2013 when I couldn't see past Christmas 2013. And we all know my life kind of changed on that day, and I ended up on a completely different fucking timeline. So, is it personal? It can't be, because there's too many people feeling that way, right?
Too many people.
Now, here's the thing. For those of you who have watched The Lies NASA Told, followed Yellow Rose for Texas's information, she's been talking for years about the pit. Now, according to her, that big globe that we're seeing is the pit. Now, the pit is the thing that comes through and all the negative gets sucked into it. All the Dracos, all the demons, whatever you want to call them, right? All that negative shit.
George Bush, Dick Cheney, Tony Blair, they all.
These guys who might well be resigning and trying to head to Antarctica to get the fuck out. That's something that's been talked about for years. That's been her standard story, is that this thing is going to come through. It's called the pit. She calls it the pit, and it's going to suck everything out. We've also had, and I think David Wilcock probably was one of the lead proponents on this one, this galactic wave coming through, right? So he's talked about that. Now, apparently, and I've got to find, if anyone's got links, and you know who I'm talking to, that I could bring up right now, apparently the galactic wave is coming through, and as much as 90% of the known universe doesn't exist anymore, according to scientists.
Whoa. We'll get back it off. Say again?
Apparently this galactic wave is in fact coming through, but it's literally dissolving as it goes. So 90% of what they knew was out there before is not there anymore, apparently. So I'd love some links to confirm this, right? These are, from what I understand, just a few of these.
But then we have questions of whether it was actually there before anyway.
Now, again, you know, you can...
We don't believe the Hubble telescope.
No, I don't believe that thing even exists.
No.
But again, you go back to the if this is a construct, if this is a computer game, it's all happening on a frigging disk somewhere, a hard drive somewhere. Those pictures, some of those pictures that we've seen that have come out via Yellow Rose for Texas and others of, you know, literally a disc, and you can see thumbs and fingers and hands and stuff, you know, it's supposed to be our universe, right? It's all feeling very, very connected. We've got what we know, you know, a human being actually uploaded you could call it a heart virus or a love virus into the computer system that runs this thing. All of these things are happening at the last few months. Are we getting a wipe clean? You know, is it getting a reboot? There's little pieces of information coming from so many different sources. And individually, sometimes they don't make a whole lot of sense. But when you just take a piece of this and a piece of that and a piece of this and a piece of that, there is a picture forming here. But it's only within the narrative of this is a construct. It doesn't work outside of that narrative, I don't believe.
Well, unless you want to believe there's a guy with a big white robe and like floats around on a cloud playing a violin or harp or something like that.
But I don't see how any of this could fit that narrative.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about take it to the realm of fairy tales that, you know, some sort of little fairy tale world. There's some sort of, you know, I don't know. It's a unicorn out there. It's farting a galactic rainbow, and it's going to make everyone high, happy, something. I don't know.
See, I honestly don't believe or feel or think or anything that they're in charge anymore, that they are running the show the way they always have.
I think they're running scared.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been talking about.
You and I have been saying for ages that it feels like they're trying to get in front of something. They're trying to get in front of something. So how's this for a theory? Right?
Hit me.
We know that the rituals, the sacrifices, the magic, the voodoo that they do is done in such, I don't know what we do. It's done well in advance, okay?
Yeah.
So, again, going along with the lines that this is a construct, and time, tick-tock, linear time, was a component, a function of the construct. It was designed to feed your experience. So if we came in here to have an experience, and we've all done this, right? You know, when you're either enjoying yourself and time either goes really slow or it just flies by, or when you bored out of your brain. It goes forever. You know, like time is valuable to your experience. So, but because it was a function, primary function of the construct, in order to do what they wanted to do with it and to mess with it and control it, they took control of the linear time function. So instead of time serving the experience had to fit into the time because they were controlling time. Does that make sense? What if?
Yeah. Yep. No, I mean, time is a construct.
Yeah. It's a function of this construct.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Exactly. Getting past notes in class. Go. Yes. Where was I going with that? Before I was rudely interrupted by my note. Time. Okay. All the work that's been done by all the incredibly powerful humans here right now over the last few years, I'm going to say the last 3 years in particular, because I think the 40 years before that, 50 years before that was laying a lot of the groundwork that allowed this to happen. But since 2012, that what's been done in the energetic, what's been done spiritually, has taken place outside of time. So if you've got this, band of linear time, and they do their rituals, and they know that they won't see the result of their ritual for 20 years, 50 years, or even if it's 6 months down the track, whatever it is, they're planning ahead, doing their stuff. And then people went up and outside of time and did all the work.
Uh-huh.
So, and they can't see that. All they're seeing is the results of it plop down into the timeline. It's like they're seeing the results play out. It's like, where did that come from? Why didn't we
Remind you of something?
Why didn't we see that? What?
Remind you of something? Remind you of someone who continuously would say to us, what did you dream last night? What did you see last night? What were you seeing? What were you doing? What have you been doing?
Yeah, I know.
Every time this comes up, every time. I had that conversation when the first really big dragon work was being done in the unfocused room that day. And I said that time is irrelevant. And some of the work was done. I wasn't the only one. There were several people who saw some of that work that was done and saw it years ago. Because time is irrelevant. And if you can go in and just insert it 3 years before to happen, drop right into place now, that's what they can't track.
And
that's what they can't tamper with.
And this is where it takes it back to it being important that we stay in the moment and do what we're prompted to do in the moment, because we already did it in the energetic outside of time, and then now it's just popping into time. Mm-hmm. But there is something about this time factor that I think they've lost. And that feeling that since 2012, that really built up last year, that there's something they're trying to get in front of, and they just can't because they don't see it coming. So they can't get in front of something they don't know is coming.
15.
Say that again? You didn't.
I think it comes down to like what we talked about in the first 6 months of 2015. We had this conversation multiple times on the show. They thought they had more time.
Yes.
They had, it's like you say, they play their rituals, etc. And maybe this is planned for 6 months, 6 years, maybe even 60 years. It's all planned out of how this is all going to piece together. And they thought that they had X amount of time to get all their ducks in a row. And then something happened at the beginning of 2015, and I still hold to this completely. Something happened in 2015, beginning of 2015, that made them go, oh shit, we don't have as much time as we thought. And there was this panic movement, and everything became like exponential. You could see the panic in what they were doing. And then in August of 2015, again, there was another kind of a jump where they had even less time. And like we said, we don't know. What is it? What are they trying to get in front of? I have no idea. But they know that they have their script and they're trying to play it. And it's almost like now they've got this mass editor going, oh, well, we only have 15 minutes for act 4 of scene 3, and we're going to now have to, okay, quick, okay, get rid of this character and this character, and we'll just take it from 3 pages down to like 3 paragraphs. And then, okay, the next act is, we've got to get the next act set up, and oh shit, okay, let's just get rid of that act completely. Okay, let's jump to the one after that. And now the script has become so fragmented that it's just falling to pieces. And that's what I keep seeing playing out right now, is everything they're trying is just falling to pieces. And time is the equation. I think you're right. I think time is the equation. They can't keep up with it. They can't hang on to it. Their timeline, or their perceived schedule, we'll call it, has been thrown out the window.
Yes. And I agree with a lot of people in the chat room that those who were in control of the construct, the ones who were being fed and appeased by all this stuff, all the sacrifice and everything, they're gone, or they've lost control. And so the minions are not getting their orders anyway. And all they've got is half a dozen scripts to work from. They're not getting any new ones. So all they can do is shuffle these around and try and play with them and get creative, which they're not very good at. And okay, I got to the point where I was pissed off with the whole phrase of "we are done," because Heather used to say it all the time.
Yeah, creativity is not their strong suit. Yeah.
But we are done. And I think all we're doing right now,
I'm fucking done,
is playing it out. And all these little bits and pieces seem to be coming together at once, like the galactic wave, like the stuff that we're seeing on these session cameras, like the yellow rose for Texas information, like everything that's coming at us about a construct, not just from Lilu, but from multiple sources.
Yep. The stuff that we've been discussing for years. Yeah.
Okay, so how does the 7 of 10 fit in, Ben? For those who don't know, the 7 of 10 is from the Zeta Reticuli, which is the greys. There's a website called Zeta Talk, if you want to go and have a look at it. What's up with Lilu? We don't know. There's been no contact for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and we haven't heard from Lilu in 2 weeks.
I have a question, and the people who this question is for will know who it's for. Does the cut-off of contact from Lilu coincide with the old man's demise? Because I have a feeling it does. Yes. Okay. Oh, God, I know that there's going to be backlash just from putting this out there and saying it, but...
Oh, go for it. Like, seriously, we already run a cult and do blood rituals. Can it get any worse?
Okay. The question that's been asked and floating around and things that we've been playing with and looking for answers for. If this is a construct, if we created this construct to have a pleasant experience, then what went wrong? What the hell went wrong? Was it an invasion from outside sources? Was it from within?
I have
keeps coming
theories
up.
on that.
Well, interestingly, multiple disconnected people were getting the same vision of a single person at a computer console right? A single old male, in fact, to be specific. Everyone was seeing the same thing. And I must have had that come to me from 8 different sources, that it's one individual, it's an old man, and he's sitting at the console. Who this old man was and where from, became the question then. Okay? Literally the man behind the curtain, yeah. So I'll just throw this out there and see what everyone feels into. What if it was in fact somebody from home, part of the team who originally created the construct, who, for whatever reason, had a God complex himself, or was out for revenge, or I have no idea what was driving him, right? But let's say he got into the control room where this thing was being run from, and he went rogue, yes, and locked everybody else out, took control of the room, but he had cohorts, 12 of them.
Yeah.
And here's where you get your 13 families and shit, right? Now, if this was a virtual reality game, the 12 cohorts already came into the game, playing along. Mm-hmm. So he already had people embedded within.
Yeah.
And then he took control and locked everything out. Now, one of the things that would have been done, obviously, is take control of time. What it's beginning to look like is it's multi-layered. So let's say you've got home, which is, it's a construct in and of itself, but within that, you've got the game. So a construct within a construct, the original game that was created. And when that was taken over, it wasn't actually the original one that was corrupted. It was copied within it. So it's like creating a folder within.
A subfolder.
A subfolder. Create a subfolder and pull everything from that larger database into the subfolder and then control that. Right?
Yep.
So, because all that could be done really was copy the whole thing, create a little subfolder over here, and this would tie in with a whole bunch of stuff that's been coming at me. But because the vision that I've had for as long as I can remember, and the stuff that also happened in like waking with when my vision tore and I actually saw through into a completely different reality. Been trying to get that to fit into this narrative somehow. How does that all fit in? And one way would be that if this thing that we're experiencing is literally this little subfolder and it's purely holographic, which there's plenty of scientific evidence to suggest it is.
Yeah.
It's a holographic copy of the original game. Then physically walking out of the holographic one into the original game could be what I was seeing. And from there's exits out of the game to home. So it's a 2-step process. The other thing is there's been several information from, again, various sources that suggest that the old boy who took it over has been dealt with. He is no longer in charge. He's out of the picture. That's why.
But you still have to send someone in who can either reprogram whatever he did, to break his programming, to change his programming.
What if that's the galactic wave?
Literally looking on that simple level.
What if someone that's the galactic wave? What if that is in fact a white clean virus that's coming through?
Could be. It could very well be. I'm not going to say that it's not. I mean, this is one of those things. I've seen the control room myself. And I've seen the old man. So was it a rogue element? You and I have had this conversation when we talked about the stuff when my own questions I have about some of the information Lilu and company has given us, as the story of how it happened, how this happened, doesn't add up. Not even close. It had to have been an inside job. As far as I'm concerned, and I've gone through the information now for, 2 months? It had to have been an inside job. The only way it could have been perpetrated. But even as such, even if the old man's gone, there still has to be the unfucked done. If you're talking about purely on a programming level, purely on a, he went in, he stole the program, he replicated it, and someone's going to have to now crack it, hack it, and figure out how to, turn it off.
But see, remember how there were times when Lilo and crew said they were outside the construct at home, and then they were inside the construct.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what they were talking about was they were outside and inside the original game. And maybe God, for how long? Hundreds of years, people have been talking about the poles being portals to somewhere else. What if they are just to the original game? That's the exit points to the original game. I'm surprised to hear in this chat room alone how many people have seen the old man. No, I don't think nobody's home. I think control has been regained, but it's how to safely delete the little holographic subfolder.
No.
Where does that leave everyone? Well, as we've talked about, and the whole New Age movement has talked about for a long time, people have come here from all over, right?
Yeah.
Horus Cannon and three waves, and there are people who very much feel like they came here from somewhere else a long way away, all that kind of stuff. I think from the original game, once you get out of the holographic subfolder, you go into the original game. From there, you can exit the game into what we call home base, and from there, you can go wherever the hell you want. But it might not just be a simple one-step process. If there's here and then there's it's outside of that. It might be 2 or 3 steps, depending on where you're from.
Yep. Well, interesting thing, Lisa, you just in this conversation is an aspect that I kind of touched on with you before privately when we've talked about this. The confusion as to where exactly we are when it came to discussions with Lulu, crossed information, etc. It could be that it's a multi-level takeover, i.e., let's say they went in and they took over the game, right? And then made a copy that's here. So you have Lulu and company or whoever looking in the game, assuming that's where we are. And then as all the information starts coming out, they realize, oh, no. There's another whole another whole subfolder, another whole layer that they have to figure out how to get to, how to break that coding, right?
No, I don't think it's going to get deleted. At least not any of the real humans. Yes, there is the idea that he knew this was a one-way ticket, that once he got caught, there'd be no going back. So just like in the Johnny Depp movie Ascension, Transcendence, whatever Ascension, wasn't it? You know, even after his physical body died, he lived on inside the computer. He was fully uploaded to the computer system, his consciousness.
Yeah. Transcendence, yeah.
So even if the old boy was taken out back home, he completely put himself into the construct.
To control it from within.
Yeah. Tried to throw in a few more million years to get, to live it out in here. I mean, this is crazier than any sci-fi that I've ever come across. It's insane, but it actually puts a lot of pieces together. I mean, there's only one. How do I look at this? There's going to be one story that fits everybody's experiences. Otherwise, I don't know how to fit everybody's personal experiences and their energetic work into any other narrative that's going around.
This is why I keep coming back to, and I've spent actually a lot of time in the last 3 weeks or so, 3-4 weeks. I've spent a lot of time reevaluating or re-looking at a lot of various theories that we've discussed, re-looking at information that we've gone through over the years, etc. And I keep coming back to the one thing of like, the only thing that makes sense is that it's a construct. I can't, like you just said, I can't come up with any other theory that can explain everything that all these different people are talking about, whether it's Dolores Cannon, whether it's various other, channel messages. Look at some of the channel messages and look at it from that different perception. Look at some of these books that have been written about various things that have been going on. Information, like you say, Yellow Rose from Texas, things like that. The only thing that gives room, if you will, for all of these pieces to fit within the same puzzle is if it's a construct. I can't come up with anything else.
Okay, so look at Westworld.
Yeah.
There's a YouTube channel called, I think it's called In Theory, or at least a video.
Oh, did you watch that one?
So his theory on Westworld is that, and he went to the HBO website and for the show, and on there apparently is the contract that the guests sign when they go to Westworld. And it talks about how Westworld has the rights to keep all of your DNA, hair, blood, whatever you leave behind belongs to Westworld.
Whatever happens in Westworld stays in Westworld, apparently.
And that they are making these hosts based on actual people. And that the idea is Westworld is a place where the hosts learn to become self-aware and conscious. And then once they do, they go out into the real world and replace the person that they are cloned from.
That they were cloned from.
Now, I was looking at that going, okay, that actually kind of fits this picture that's coming together too. So what if when this copy was created, the whole little subfolder hologram, it couldn't create people. You couldn't put people in it. So you had to draw the originals out of the game, suck them into here, and start replicating them through what I've been calling the rinse and repeat reincarnation cycle, right? And then that can live on with just the bots. That can live on indefinitely with the bots.
Okay, I want to just came to me. Over the course of the last few weeks, we've talked about the experiences certain people have and the memories that have all of a sudden been coming to the surface of battles, last stands, invasions, etc., etc. So what if to get the people, us, whatever, into they stage a battle. And they come in to rescue, kind of like what you were talking about before, right? You're coming in to rescue, and get the people out, and then you're locked in. And then they make the copies and start the rinse and repeat cycle over and over and over. I don't know. That's kind of interesting. Mm-hmm.
There's something in this. I'm getting ping.
Yeah, so am I.
So what if the invasion was just a storyline? Just like in Westworld, you can go out and be a bounty hunter or whatever. So the invasion was a storyline that sucked us in.
Uh-huh. What is it in Westworld? You know, the old man, the old man, and Anthony Hopkins does such a good job of creating a new narrative. He wants to create a new, isn't that what it's all been about? He's creating this new narrative, and no one knows what it is or what it's going to be. But he's going to be taking all the hosts in from everywhere to create into his new narrative. Is that literally what we're seeing happen? That this guy, the old man, whatever you want to call him, created a new narrative, a new subfolder, a new game within the game, and sucked all the people in.
What was I going to say? Okay, Westworld is based on 2 movies.
I haven't seen this week's yet, so don't no.
No. But it's based on 2 movies.
Mm-hmm.
So Westworld, which was reasonably big apparently, and most people know about that. And then there was a sequel, which didn't do so well, supposedly.
Yeah, I had never heard of the sequel until I just, on that video, that In Theory video is what I was the first time I...
Future World. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see if I can get copies of the original Westworld and Future World. Has anyone seen either of them, or both of them, preferably? Yes. Okay, cool.
Yesterday, apparently, a bunch of people went on research.
Okay, thoughts? What you described, Lisa, is Future World.
Okay, so that's interesting. Linda said searching for bloodlines, right? Because that whole bloodline thing keeps coming up too, Lise. It just keeps coming up. The certain bloodlines, are they the bloodlines of, say, the original 12, who maybe then cloned themselves or literally had babies, whatever you want to call it, and they keep tracking of all the bloodlines? Or is it literally a reincarnation, rinse and repeat type thing? And that's how they have to track the bloodlines, certain bloodlines coming in. They go through the moon, whatever, and they go through the repeat. Like, my kids have just been rewatching it, the Avatar cartoon series again. And the last Avatar, the last Airbender. And the whole thing of Logan asked me today or yesterday, well, how did they know that Aang was the Avatar? And I'm like, well, they had to go look for him. When the old Avatar dies, they have to go out and look for the new Avatar and find him. And they, showed him his old toys or old belongings of the old Avatar to find his reincarnation. Is that kind of what the tracking of certain bloodlines to keep track of where maybe they can't know, maybe they don't know where they're going to come back in again?
Yes, she is talking about those ones. The 12 cohorts.
And I still think there could be more. I mean, there could have been even below that. Could it even be the fact of bloodlines be a representation of the different, for lack of a better word, alien species that all came in here? They all put on a human costume? And maybe the 12 bloodlines are the various different beings, groups, whatever.
How many different places did Lulu say?
She said, I think she said like 6 or 7, maybe 5 or 6 different, no, there was about 6 or 7 different planet star systems that she pointed out.
Yeah, I think 6.
Because it was like 2 from here and 3 from there and 1 from here and.
Yeah. More questions? So we still just ask questions here and hypothesize on stuff.
Yeah, we don't have any answers. This is the show of questions only. Ask us a question.
Again,
we'll discuss the questions.
Okay, so again, we've been talking about this whole layer business, and every time we get down to the next layer, we seem to see a whole new level of disclosure and of technology.
Yep.
Now, there are people out there, and I've tinkered over the years, but it hasn't been an obsession. But there are people for whom it has been, and they've done a lot of research on giants.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And the stuff that's coming out now, they haven't seen before. And these are the sort of people who, if there was something out there about giants, I've seen.
They would have read it.
Right?
I talked to someone last week after you sent me the one video. I can't remember if you posted it in Unfuckers. Yeah, I think you posted it in the Unfuckers. And someone sent me a thing was blown away because it was one piece. And they were like, you don't understand. I have been doing the research on this for 15 years. Researching, like even traveling around the world researching. And he was like, there was this one, I wish I could remember what it was, but there was a couple of pieces in that video that he was like, I've never come across this information before. This is brand fucking new.
So if you're interested, I'll show you. There's a couple of good channels to have a look at. Let me see if I can find. One's called Mud Fossils University, I think. Let's see if I go here. I'll try and find that one.
So someone was just asking the question, Lise, how does the, and I'm gone, aren't I?
How does this relate?
Yeah, someone just asked the question, so I want you to tie that back in because I can see where you're going with it.
Okay, so
But
this ties in with the no forest video. You know, enormous trees, giant everything. So there is a theory out there that the original construct or life on this planet, whichever way you want to put it, used to be crystalline in nature. Okay? That includes our bodies, all plant life, animal life, was all crystalline. And that everything was enormous, absolutely enormous. The beings were anything from sort of 12 to 200 feet tall. Everything was huge. Now, you can look at this from a couple of different perspectives. One of them being that, yes, okay, this is actually a globe sphere planet, and they came in and messed with the environment and just pumped it full of oxygen. That would solidify the crystalline, increase the carbon, slowly transform everything to a carbon base. Because carbon expands in oxygen-rich environments. Now, we want to look at it from a construct point of view. It could be that when they copied the original game, they didn't have perhaps access to all the data. So
maybe they just shrunk everything down, literally?
And shrunk everything. If it's a subfolder within the original game, everything got shrunk, right? So there's some So this is where I'm leading to. So maybe the edges of this subfolder are starting to kind of bleed, and we are seeing stuff from the original game, which is all this evidence of giants. That there's a really, really well backed up, well researched theory that dinosaurs, as they're presented to us, never actually existed. They are just giant birds. They're all giant birds.
Yep. Really big fucking chickens. Really, really big fucking chickens.
Yeah. If you haven't looked into
which goes in with, you know, the relatively new discovery that maybe dinosaurs actually had feathers and they weren't reptiles. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So was this in the game or out? The shrinking? I don't know. It makes sense for me if I can put it into as it's a subfolder within the game. That I can make sense of, and it's like everything got shrunk. Pulled in and shrunk. I mean, the evidence has been around us all the time, but we've been programmed to see it a certain way. You know, that's a mountain.
Yep.
That's a mesa. That's a carving.
Yeah.
Not, that's a tree stump. That's a tree stump. That's somebody who just got, like, literally turned to stone.
So there's trolls too?
Trolls?
Trolls get turned to stone in
We've
daylight.
got all these legends around.
The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings. Sorry, I was just making a joke. I'll go sit here quiet.
I'm not getting it anymore, so it's going straight over my
My internet's so shockingly bad, you're probably only getting 1 out of every 3 words I'm saying anyway.
And I wanted to try and show these YouTube channels, but I think Mud Fossils. Start there. He's got some great stuff. I'll just put a link into his channel
If you can
in the chat room.
remember, Lise, is to put those videos together so we can put them in the show when we upload the show. We make sure that we have the links to all those videos.
Yeah.
The Mud Fossils ones in particular.
I can't remember which one it was exactly that I put in the UU room that everybody went, ah.
Yeah.
Ooh, stop that. And it wouldn't post, funnily enough. Wouldn't post properly. Here we go. Is that it? Yep. Giants hiding in plain sight. Right. And there's the link to that. I actually had the weekend off, Tom. I needed a weekend off. So I will be back in there today. So yes. What was I going to say? Okay, it's all there. It's all coming up. It's all being revealed. We're seeing. Yeah. I can play with this whole narrative because it feels good. It feels like there's answers in here for me. And if it changes, it changes. Fine.
Yep. Comes forward, then
what's coming.
New information comes forward if it does.
Of course. I'm working with what's coming at me. And so far, this is the picture that's forming. My own stuff, my own experiences are fitting into this very, very well. Stuff that I remember seeing, feeling, experiencing, you know, even when I was a kid. So I can't see past March. What does that mean? I don't know.
Well, going back to the CERN thing,
I'm going to make coffee.
I found it very interesting.
So I'm here. I'm just going to make.
Okay. that they're shut down now. Now, they always shut down in December through till usually the end of January, beginning of February, maybe into mid-February. And they do all their whatever doohickey shit they usually do. But I've never seen them shut down this early in December, and they don't come back until like well into April. But I pulled it, and the CERN is on full shutdown by their own schedule from, shit, I may have to pull, no, I can't pull it up because I had to close my computer down. From, I want to say early 2018 till 2020, purportedly, CERN will be on full technical shutdown. And I looked at that and was just like,
What?
yeah. I will find it. You, just give me 2 seconds, guys. I will pull up my history. Recently closed. Hold on.
They're not coming back online April next year.
Hold on. It's coming online April. Hold on. The current events. No. Fuck, I downloaded it too, but I closed the PDF and I don't know where it went to. What is it?
My thought on CERN was that, honestly, I think it's their attempt to create another layer, or again, copy this one, or
Copy this one. Copy this one. Or the other thought that I had was going into this whole thing of time. Okay, is what? Okay, I found it. What if they're just literally trying to add time? They're trying to desperately try and find time and add time. Okay, hold on. I will go to screen share and I'll show you the schedule. I found it. Give me a second. Oh, now, of course, the chat's right in front of it, so I can't see. Okay, so there we go. So they shut down December until the end of April, which I've never seen them that late before. That's like crazy. Next year, so the 2017-18, it's December, January, February, which is what it usually is around. But in 2018, they're shut down from the first, basically beginning of December, all the way through until March of 2021. That's their long-term schedule. And I can find no explanation. Granted, I only had about an hour before we went live on the show to really start looking for this information. I can't find any explanation as to why. Or is it some major work being done? No idea. No idea. And oh, and Gigi, you could be totally right. It could be, like I keep saying, I don't believe these fucking CERN bullshit anyways, right? But I find it interesting
but that stuff
they've got a long-term shutdown.
That stuff can be put out purely to create speculation. But you know, when I was getting, sorry, I'm walking around now. When I was getting,
she's walking around the house and getting more coffee.
Yeah, when I was getting hacked by creepy voice. You know nothing, little girls. That one.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the things he said was, and I kept telling him, you're toast. You're done. You're gone. It's over. And he would say, I have one more thing. I still have one more thing. And
yeah.
I honestly feel, it hit me last night in a really big way, this one more thing is a completely empty threat. But it was said in a way so that we would start speculating on what that one thing might be and fucking create it.
Of course.
So
get enough people to focus on it.
Yep. I don't think they do have one more thing. I think they're hoping they put enough shit out there and get us speculating and whatever. We will create that one more thing because we'll get to a point where we go, oh, I know what it is. It's this. And the minute we've all done that, we just created it. Hello. Hi, boys. I'm impressed that a couple of young kids like that are listening to this. That's awesome. I don't think they've got it. I don't think they've got anything.
No, I think they're still in that. I think they have been in this place of just trying to extend, try and find a loophole, try and find a way of making it all play out. I don't know. I do. Antarctica plays into this fucking summer.
Oh, God, yeah.
It fucking absolute, and the Arctic. And the Arctic. But Antarctica, and it may be because Antarctica is a continent. It's not just water. Like, let's face it, the Arctic really now is pretty much just water and some icebergs. Antarctica plays into this. And whether they think it's their way to escape, you know, that they think they can escape through there, or it's where they think they can hide, I don't know. But it's been screaming at me for like several years now. Antarctica plays a part in this. Who knows? Maybe that's where the control room is. Maybe they're having their own little war down in Antarctica to see for someone trying to get the key, you know, to get into the control room to take over, to see if they can't, you know, hack it themselves and extend it.
That's an interesting thought. Because, well, you would have a base. You would set up your control at the point of exit to the original game, would you not?
If yes, I don't see why you would put the, you know, the perceived whatever called control room, whatever, somewhere else. It would be in the entryway where you would control entry and exit. It, to me, would make the most sense. If I was the one building this, that's, in Philip's right, you'd put in a back door. And is that what Antarctica is? That's the back door.
All right, so Dolores Cannon, 3 waves. When did the first wave start coming in? The 50s?
No idea. 60s is what Dawn's saying.
Baby boomers? Okay. Answers are going anywhere from late 40s to 60s. So the Antarctic Treaty was what, 1953? 4? So if they did have...
I'm watching really carefully this year. Lee just said the fact that I keep saying this time of year, that December to January, the time outside of time, the opportunity for them to pull something. And I'm going to be watching like a fucking hawk this year, just to see if they're going to try and play some little thing out. That winter solstice to the first week of January, 10 days.
So if they did have, you know, your Chronovision, your Yellow Book, your Montauk Fair, your all these different things that they could see down the timeline.
Yeah.
And they saw what was going to come. I mean, the first thing you'd do, I'd say, would be lock off the potential exit doors, the fire exits.
Mm-hmm. Lock the fire exits.
Lock the fire exits. So then, yeah, bring in the Antarctic Treaty. We've got countries who are supposedly working beautifully together down there who are at war elsewhere. I mean, it makes absolutely no fucking sense.
Well, you mean like the Americans and the Russians share their space exploration, right? You know, full sanctions on Russia, except, you know, we need to send rockets out into the ISS or wherever else. Then we're going to use the Russians because, you know, we need them.
Oh, that was the other perceived good news out of Syria, was it not? And Aleppo.
I'm not following the Middle East at all. I'm literally doing this right now. It does not exist.
Russia has negotiated some kind of deal for Syria and Aleppo. So yeah, I mean, there was a few feel-good stories that came out. Which again, sort of, I don't know whether it's trying to get everyone to support the idea that yay, change, or whether it's genuine change. But we've reached our time limit.
Seriously? Holy shit!
Yeah, we have. So.
Wow. Do it again.
You made it. You hung in there. Your internet hung in there.
So, right, I'm definitely going to have to use your video footage, so you need to upload so I can grab it, because I think mine is, well, I know mine is toast because I didn't record this last bit, so I gave up on trying to record.
We can go over, but I've brought up everything I wanted to talk about. What about you guys?
Pretty much.
I think. Did I miss anything?
And I'm yawning already, so I'm ready for bed.
Oh, okay. There was one little thing. I did put it on my wall. It was on Saturday night. Now, the responses to this were all over the place, which is interesting.
Oh, the bit about the moon?
Yeah. So I live on the east coast. I live on the east coast of Australia. I was heading north. The beach is over here. The ocean, big ocean, is this way, right?
Can't miss it.
Can't miss it. Driving home, it's about 11 o'clock at night, and the moon was low, crescent. I mean, it wasn't that low, but it was not dead center. It was on its way to setting, supposedly. Bright white crescent moon. Within 20 minutes, it's over there on the east, sitting on the water, sitting on the horizon in the east. And it's bright orange, and then literally just gone 3 seconds later, completely. And because we were driving and there was trees, I'm trying to get a photo, and all I got was the glow, a bit of a glow of the moon on the water. I didn't actually get the moon at all. Now, when I said, did anyone notice an anomaly with the moon tonight on my wall? Okay, and then I asked, can anyone see the moon? And yes, it was due to set at about 11:35 apparently, but it doesn't set in the east. And I know I was going east. I mean, I was heading north. East was almost. So I had four or five people from Perth with mixed answers. Can't see it anywhere in the sky, and yep, I can see it looking exactly where it should be. Adelaide could see it. Sydney, all on the east coast, I got mixed responses there. Most people couldn't see it on the east coast, some could. So how is that even possible? For some people, they can go outside and there's the moon, and for other people,
okay. Because I thought of this when I read your bet. What if, play the what if game, you know how people have been losing time? People have all of a sudden been like, it's like time just fucking lose like a chunk, like 2-3 hours, etc. So, what if some people literally had all lost a chunk of time? So for you, for example, it's like almost like it went into rewind. Like it went back down. It kind of came up and it was like going back down, and it was literally like a timeline glitch.
Like the moon, like the sun's done, where it rises twice and stuff?
Where it rises twice, kind of along the same lines. I keep saying it, our skies have been so fucking weird for the last 2 months especially. I mean, just crazy weird. And while I haven't seen any radical changes in the moon, as far as like, you know, something that you're talking about where all of a sudden it goes back, I have gone out where I've been like, okay, for example, right now, the way that the moon was directly there, literally directly here at when it was really full dark. So like 7 o'clock at night, the moon was right there. And yesterday, the moon at 7 o'clock at night was already gone. Like at sundown, at 5 o'clock at night, at sundown, the moon was like cresting over the hill and disappearing. And then at 7 o'clock at night, I'm like, the moon's right there. That's not possible.
No.
And we get those kind of things where it's like, because I've got the roof over my balcony and I've got the building in front of us. So when I sit in my chair where I have my smoke, you have like this segment of sky that you can see. Say it's this, and you know, like one day the moon's coming across this way, and the next day the moon's coming across and it's up here, like it's beyond what I can see. And you actually go and do one of these and you look up and go, what the hell? And then it just sets automatically. You're sitting there going, okay, well, it's supposed to only be a change of like, you know, 2 or 3 minutes per day or whatever it is. I can't remember what it actually is. So how can you account for 2 hours change from one night to the next of what the position of the moon in the sky?
But I hadn't thought of the time thing.
That's the only. That was the first thing that came to my mind. It was like literally a time glitch.
Yeah, it felt like the Truman Show. I got quite excited. Yeah, it's glitching. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about anyone else. I am losing time so badly now. So badly.
I've had days that go for 4 hours.
Lisa, I swear to God, okay, I got up with Nick this morning. So I was up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So it's not like, you know, you sleep into like 9 o'clock. So therefore you know, I was up at 6 o'clock this morning. Kale got up with me. So I got him on the couch. He was just playing with his tablet. I took the dog out for a walk, got the dog fed, sat down, putzed on the computer for a bit. Then all the kids were up, got them all breakfast, put a load of laundry on. Wait, this should have taken an hour and a half, tops. I sit back down at the computer again, and it's 10 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, can't fucking be 10 o'clock in the morning. That's fucking insane. And I get up and I go do a couple other things. And I decide I'm going to make lasagna, right? So in the time I have the thought, well, you know what? I've got pretty much everything I need with the exception of some mozzarella. I have everything I need to make lasagna. I'm going to make lasagna tonight as a treat for the family. Finish typing in a little comment in Unfuckers, like you chat for a little bit. Get up, go pull the stuff out of the freezer, sit down, and Nick's walking in the door for lunch. And I'm like, it's 11:30. That's it. That was like 10 minutes, hour and a half. By 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I was so exhausted. About 12:30, I was like, said to the kids, I have to go lie down. I have to go lie down for half an hour. I laid down literally half an hour. I couldn't sleep any longer because it was like all insanity in my house. Like leave the kids unattended. It was nuts. Got back up, came out, did a couple of things with the kids for a second or so. Turn around, it's 3:30. Nick's home. And I'm like, what the fuck? I still haven't gotten beyond my morning shit the plans that I had for the day, I had a whole craft stuff. I had all the craft paper laid out for the kids. We were going to do some projects. Never got to it. Like, next thing I know, it's like, it's 4 o'clock. I haven't even started the fucking lasagna yet. Like, shit. Start building the lasagna. Then it's like 8 o'clock at night. I'm like, I swear this day took 5 hours to go by. And I can't get anything accomplished. Like, I cannot get anything accomplished. I need to make Logan fucking pajama pants. I got a sewing machine. I can't even get the fucking sewing machine open to get it done. So if anyone would like to make a donation and give me some of their hours, I could really use this week, say maybe 10 hours. If anyone wants to donate 10 hours to a worthy cause, I seriously have shit I gotta get done and I can't do it.
Well, it doesn't look like many people have got any spare.
Yeah, apparently no one's.
Oh,
Stacey's got 5 hours.
days in my other pants. My other pocket.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like the time seemed to kind of calm down for a little while there. It wasn't quite so bad, but it is fucking insane now. And I swear, it's like you said, an hour a day. Like, so you're talking about from the time you get up till like dinner time, it's 4 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours. That's about right. So we may or may not see you at the same time next week. It might be different.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be like, yeah, I don't know. Fucking, I don't know. Fuck. All I know is I need a few more hours because I do need to sleep at some point in time. But yeah, you know.
It is like,
okay,
like we're standing still and everything around us is just being sped up.
Fast forward. Everything's in fast forward.
All right. Love you all. See you in the cult room.
Yeah, we'll see you in the cult room tomorrow when I wake up.
Cult headquarters.
That's right. Good morning, everyone. Good night. Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
Bye, guys.